Hello, this is Mary Bush from Stampin' in the Sand. Thank you for joining me today. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can make 4 of these absolutely gorgeous cards from 5 sheets of cardstock. That's right, 5 sheets of cardstock. So let's get started. You will need 2 pieces of Whisper White cardstock. You will need 2 sheets of colored cardstock. And you will need 1 sheet of vellum cardstock. To create today's cards, you will need the Garden in Bloom stamp set, currently available in my online store. You can find a direct link in the description below, in the description of this video. And the colors we will be using today are Rich Razzleberry, Blushing Bride, Pumpkin Pie, Old Olive. You will also need StazOn Black and or your Memento Tuxedo Black ink pads. Let's get started creating our cards. The first thing that you need to do is take your sheet of vellum cardstock and cut it down so that you have 4 pieces of cardstock that measure 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. Those are going to be for the top of your card, and we're going to stamp those first because vellum has a tendency to take a while to dry, and you don't want to have it wet when you go to assemble your cards. For starters, I've chosen my Hope You're Feeling Special Today sentiment from my stamp set. I'm going to ink that up in my black ink, and I'm going to stamp that onto each of the 4 pieces of my vellum cardstock. I'm going to put it in the bottom right quadrant of my piece of vellum. Exact placement really doesn't matter. So I've done that, and now I'm going to repeat it on my next 3 pieces of vellum. Next, I'm going to come in with my butterfly image from the same stamp set, and we're going to stamp that 3 times on each of our pieces of vellum. Now let's get started stamping our own background paper. You're going to bring in 1 sheet of your Whisper White cardstock. We are going to begin by selecting the watercolor large blossom from our Garden in Bloom stamp set mounted on one of our blocks. We're going to ink that up in the Blushing Bride ink pad, and we're going to randomly stamp it on our cardstock. Next, we're going to come in with the same stamp and our Rich Razzleberry ink, and we're going to fill in some of the blank spaces. Next, we're going to come in with our large leaf image and our Old Olive, and we're going to randomly stamp some leaves to coordinate with our flowers. Next, we're going to come in with our watercolor bud here, and we're going to come in with our pumpkin pie ink and fill in some more spaces. And lastly, we're going to come in with our smallest watercolor leaf image and our Old Olive ink pad and stamp some leaves around all of our orange blossoms. Okay, so now that we have completed stamping our background paper, you're going to need to cut it up to fit your cards. The first thing you're going to want to do is cut one strip at 4 inches, then cut that piece into two 4 by 5 1/4 inch pieces, which leaves you this little 1/2 inch piece left over. Then you're going to do the same thing again. Cut a 4 inch length, cut that 4 inch length into two 4 inch by 5 1/4 inch pieces, and have another 1/2 inch left over. That leaves you with a 1/2 inch strip. You're going to want to cut that into a 4 inch length and another 4 inch length, which leaves you this little short piece in the middle, which you can discard or save for another use later. So now we need to cut our card bases. You're going to take your 2 pieces of colored cardstock. I have chosen to use the rich raspberry cardstock. I have cut them in half on the 5 1/2 inch length, scored them at 4 1/4, folded them in half that way, and now I have my 4 card bases to build my cards on. Now you need to bring in that extra piece of Whisper White cardstock. We're going to be cutting that down into 4 4-inch by 5 1/4 inch pieces, and those are going to form the insert for the inside of our card. So now it's time for the magic to happen. Let's get started assembling our cards. For each of your cards, you are going to need 1 card base, 1 blank piece of Whisper White for your card insert, 1 piece of your stamped background paper, 1 sheet of your stamped vellum, 1 of your little 1/2 inch strips, and a 14 inch length of ribbon. I'm using the rich raspberry 1/4 inch cotton ribbon. You are also going to need your choice of adhesive. I'm going to be using our new Fast Fuse. I absolutely love this adhesive. I'm also going to be bringing in some dimensionals, Stampin' Dimensionals. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is take my Fast Fuse adhesive, and I'm going to run a strip up at the top of my cardstock here, my stamped cardstock. It's about a 1/2 inch down from the top. Then I'm going to take my piece of vellum, and I'm going to line that up on top of my stamped background paper and seal that. Now, one thing I've discovered about the vellum and our Fast Fuse is you can barely see the Fast Fuse under there. I think that's awesome. I hadn't realized that until I started playing with it. A lot of the times the adhesives, you can see them underneath the vellum. Next, I'm going to take my ribbon, and I'm going to tie that around the top above where my Fast Fuse is, and I'm just going to tie a simple knot with my ribbon. Okay. Come in with my scissors and cut that off, trim that down a little bit, and line that up till I'm happy with it. Okay. Next, I'm going to grab my dimensionals, and I'm going to use 2 dimensionals up in the corners here to hold my ribbon in place, and then 1 down here. And I'll also include 3 dimensionals down towards the bottom. Okay. And now the card front is ready. So we've got that on. Isn't that just gorgeous? I absolutely love how this looks. It is so pretty. So what are we going to do for the inside of our card? I'm going to take my little 1/2-inch strip here, and I'm going to attach that to the bottom of my card insert. I'm using the fast fuse because it's right here next to me on the table, but I actually prefer to use the liquid glue because it's more forgiving if I make a mistake. Then I'm going to take and apply, whoops, another strip of fast fuse to the back of the card insert. Line that up. And now my card is complete. Isn't that gorgeous? I love it. Now on the inside, if you don't care for the look of this designer strip down here, you could also just go ahead and stamp another one of your flower images and a couple of leaves, as I did on this one. And on my original cards, which were in Blushing Bride and I forget what I used, Blushing Bride and Pool Party, Wild Wasabi, and I think the yellow was So Saffron. These were my originals. I also stamped a butterfly up in the upper left-hand corner above my little strip of stamped background paper. So that's another way that you can finish off the inside of your card. So I hope you enjoyed today's projects. I certainly enjoyed bringing them to you. If you don't currently have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator. You can find all the information on my stamp clubs, my Stamp in the Mail, my class kits by mail, purchase information from my online store. Everything can be found on my blog. I've provided you with a direct link in the description of this YouTube video below. And again, I hope you've enjoyed our projects. Thank you for stamping with me today, and I look forward to stamping with you again soon. Bye!